All right. Before we get into it, these are our opinions, not my real estate shows, not my real estate companies, not any entity connected to either, just ours. So let's go. Yesterday, the third largest MLS in the country pulled the plug on Zillow. 43,000 listings gone. Nearly the entire Chicago market was wiped off, the biggest real estate search site in America overnight. Well, if you're an agent who built your whole business chasing portal leads, you need to be paying attention right now. Today, we've got David Mink, COO of MyState MLS, and he's breaking down what actually happened, what it means for every agent in the country, and what you should be doing this week so one website never has this kind of power over your paycheck again. Let's get to it.
That was really good. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll do our theme song for a second. Welcome to my real estate show. We have a couple of very special guests on. The first very special guest is Holly Brink. She is co-founder of the best real estate brokerage in the country, My Real Estate Company. Holly.
Hi there. I'm really excited because today we also have David Mink, who runs operations for MyState MLS, a true national MLS covering all 50 states and Puerto Rico. So he's been building this thing for more than 10 years, and we're really excited to have him here today. So glad to have him
Thanks
on.
for having me.
And I'm joined by my co-host, Josh. And Josh, you have to give your introduction because this is important.
Yes, it's
Right? It really hits hard today. So, I'm Josh. I am the director of advancement at my real estate company. I am a lead generation consultant and an Inman contributor. And I met Sandi Lyn because Holly Brink actually threatened to burn my house down if I didn't join their brokerage.
And Holly's first time on our show. So this is quite the occasion, and David gets to witness it. So this is awesome. We are joined also by producer Brian, who I served with in the Marines about 21 years ago, give or take. All right, David. So we're really excited to have you. Thank you so much for your time. And I thought we'd spend this first segment just kind of talking about who you are, what My State MLS does. So you have the floor.
No, again, thank you for having me. We can also thank Holly because she threatened to burn my house down if I did not join today. Uh,
yeah.
so
I
I
have
do
my
appreciate
ways.
the introduction. As you mentioned, so I am CEO at MyState MLS, a true nationwide multiple listing service. We've been at this now for over a decade. We started as the New York State MLS back in 2009 as a alternative to having to join multiple MLSs to do your business, whether you are a broker or an appraiser. We essentially started as a means to answer a problem that our president and CEO had. She was an appraiser here just outside of Albany, where I am, and anywhere if I go half an hour in either direction, I was pretty much landing in a different MLS. So as an appraiser, to find good comps, you may have to go drive pretty far. When you're an appraiser, you go to where you're assigned. So she said, why are we doing this? Why am I part of 7 MLSs? There's got to be a different way. There's got to be a solution. So she said, I'm going to make my own MLS. People laughed at her, didn't think it was possible, but I'm pretty sure if those people were had the opportunity looking at us now, they would probably say, I wish I hopped on board sooner. So after we had launched in 2009 as New York State MLS, we ran the course. We were hitting the ground running, knocking on doors, getting brokerages to sign up anywhere between Albany and New York City. We kept getting calls from different brokerages in like Florida and Texas, places where snowbirds go. And they're like, we want to get our listings in front of New York buyers and brokers. And we're like, no, we're just a New York MLS. But then we're like, wait a second. We're just sitting here saying no. Why are we saying no? So I remember vividly that car ride. I remember Dawn and I, we were driving up, we were somewhere downstate. We were driving home after we were doing another like training show or something. And we are like, we could do this nationwide. And we're like, what can we call it? And we're like, we'll just let's call it MyState MLS. So if it's my state, if it's your state, you're just in my state. It's MyState MLS. And then we realized, oh wait, we only have to change one letter. The M and the N are on the same button on our phones, so we don't have to change the phone number. This is perfect. So that's how we got the name
I
MyState
love
MLS,
that.
just because we knew that we wouldn't have to change our phone number.
That is brilliant.
So we've been doing that now for about 11 years. And every day is growth for us. You know, we have new members coming to us every day. And for some reason, I don't know why, but all of a sudden we're seeing a lot of people from Illinois join us. And I don't know why.
Can't put my finger on it.
You know, David, about the name My State MLS, one thing that I kind of found interesting when our companies connected is because we have My Real Estate Show, My Real Estate Company, and we're like, oh, how great is this, My State MLS? A national MLS that our agents can join. So yeah, I think that was a perfect fit. I love that Holly has the ability to find amazing companies and develop relationships like this. So, I am curious. Walk us through what it actually looks like for an agent day to day, like using this MLS.
Honestly, I would say it's pretty much just like any other MLS. I don't think there's much different. I think where the difference does come in is one of the biggest things about being a MyState MLS member is how you get to tell other people that you're a MyState MLS member. That biggest difference is when you go on a listing appointment, that's the biggest deciding factor as to what can help you win that listing. And I know you guys have been using MyState MLS. I'm sure that's come into conversations when you're meeting with potential sellers. That is the big selling point.
How many agents are you up to now in your
Oh
MLS?
my gosh, we just did a count and it is wow, we just did it. I'm gonna pull it up. I think we had just pulled it
And
up.
while you're thinking about that, like another thing that I find very cool about my state MLS is the Crexy light. Just different feeds like that is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the more that we dig into my state MLS, the more I'm like, this is cooler than the other stuff, right? Like it's the important stuff. So it's kind of like what we did. We wanted to keep what works, but make it better. And I feel like my state's done that. So they have tools that agents actually need that are moving their business forward. So
And that's what we try to do. And we haven't stopped doing that. So we have a full suite of forms for essentially every single state. You know, so any state form that you could possibly need, we try to offer those as a courtesy. And that database is a living, breathing thing. We're always updating it. We're always adding to it. And we're always trying to add new tools that you can utilize as an agent, you know, on your day-to-day basis. We want to try to help you. We've always said that we're in the business to help you do yours, but we're also trying to give you tools to help you save money doing your business. Why have to pay for XYZ, ABC, 1, 2, 3 if we can include that in your platform when you use it? We'd rather give you a full service and a full suite of tools just by being a member. And now we're doing that for, you know, hundreds of thousands of members across the country.
I think you'll be interested to know how my state MLS kind of saved a whole bunch of agents at our brokerage. So I don't, I'm pretty sure you know by now we're kind of like trailblazers. We're kind of rebellious, and we definitely want to have NAR and non-NAR options for our agents. Well, a local association saw a LinkedIn article that I wrote in December that said, hey, I'm leaving NAR because frankly, I don't really produce that much anymore, but I wanted to lead by example and prove that I could do residential real estate without NAR. I wanted to walk the dog on it and say, hey, here are the lessons I learned. And so the local association who our managing broker, Holly, that was her primary membership at, they sent us an email and said, hey, we found this LinkedIn article that your CEO wrote. And for that reason, nothing else cited, no rules broken or anything. For that reason, we will be dropping your membership and all of your agents. And they did it, no due process, no nothing. And so because that was her primary membership, all of these other Iowa associations had to be notified. And of course, they had to drop our agents all across the state. It was, 5 alarm fire. It was insane. But because of my state MLS, our agents had their listings back up and running in under like 90 minutes, as fast as we could put them in, as
That's
fast as
awesome.
they could
Hmm.
get the MLS and we could put them in. So I thought
Yeah.
that was pretty incredible.
Well, and it actually helped. It kind of did some of our agents a favor because it refreshed their listing on portals like Zillow, and so new eyeballs were seeing them. So I know Damien has said that a couple of times.
Hmm. And then we have an agent in Texas who, Debbie, she's attended your training. And by the way, her handle is Debbie Does Dallas Real Estate, and I'll never not love
No.
it. And she said that she loves attending your guys' trainings. She loves everything that your MLS has to offer. So yeah, we just wanted to give you that feedback. But let's get into the elephant in the room. All right. So yesterday, MRED, the third largest MLS in the country, suspended its data feed to Zillow. So 43,000 listings, 99.98% of their inventory was off Zillow and Trulia overnight. The trigger was nine Compass listings outside Illinois that Zillow refused to display the way MRED's rules required. Zillow sued MRED and Compass for antitrust last week. MRED gave Zillow until midnight Tuesday. Zillow didn't move. MRED followed through. So, David, you've been watching this, obviously, from a national vantage point and have some vested interest. What's actually going on here? What are your thoughts?
I think first off, I kind of wish that I got the same disclosure uh, that you get, saying these opinions, anything I'm about to say, are only mine. I do not reflect the company, my thoughts, my views. No one
That's
else's here at my
that's
state MLS.
fair.
Please.
That- that's fair.
This has been a hot button. It's one. This is not the only big groundbreaking thing that's been happening in the past 2026 has been the most ridiculous year in real estate. One, we've seen, and I apologize for going off topic a little bit, but I just got to get it out there because I think everything else is setting the stage for what's happening right now and probably what's to come for the next 7 months this year. We've had massive consolidations and acquisitions of multiple brokerages. We've got brokers suing third-party sites. We have third-party sites suing brokerages. We have third-party sites suing MLSs and brokerages. Everyone is suing everyone. They might as well just keep passing around the same bag of money because that's essentially what's just going on here. But it's
How do we get in on that?
right. Apparently, you just have to sue somebody,
Okay,
but you also have to then pass it along to someone else.
that's right.
It's 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 been a wild 2026, and so we've seen these brokerages come out. We've seen Robert Refkin at Compass has been very vocal about wanting to create a nationwide multiple listing service. Hey, Rob, if you're watching, we're right here. We're here. um, and they partnered with MRED, and then MRED said we're also now going to take national listings. I don't know what that's going to look like or how that's going to work. Um, but then again, also Compass has been in the limelight and again, passing the buck with lawsuit versus lawsuit. They're passing the lawsuit ball because they've been trying to create this private listing network that is not going to send listings. And now all of a sudden, MRED's decided to be the one to pull the listings because Zillow had said we're not going to take your listings. So where they're saying, all right, bet, and then just pull the listing out from under them. But now so this comes up, we have conversations about this. If you go on Facebook and you just go on to any of those real estate blogs, you're just in for some very light reading. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna cry. There's so many things. Zillow had put out a statement, and I guess again, this is can I read this?
Yeah.
So on the
Go
Zillow
for
for
it.
Agents page, Zillow had put out a statement saying MRED and Compass have formed an alliance that puts their business interests ahead of buyers, sellers, and the agents who serve them. MRED rewrote its own rules to prop up Compass's hidden listing scheme, one designed to steer buyers toward Compass agents, keep homes off the open market, and capture both sides of the commission. That was Zillow's statement on the matter. And the comments on this post are like, are they keyboard warriors? They're saying like, don't bite the hands that feeds. Let's hope every MLS in the country follows MRED steps. So but the thing is, for me, if you told an agent right now and said, all right, you said this, you hope that every MLS follows an MRED steps. Will you pull your listings off Zillow right now? Would you actually do that? It's unfortunate. I'm not for or against any of these platforms. For us here at MyState MLS, we've always been about allowing you to market the listings you want to market them and do it the way you want to do it. So one of the things that sets us apart from a lot of third-party platforms is we allow you as a listing agent to select where your listings are going. So if you've got a seller, they've got a multi-million-dollar home, but they don't want it to be on one website for one reason or another. It's a messy divorce. They don't want the neighbors to know that their house is being put up on the market, or they're going to get knocks on the door saying, hey, what's going on? Why are your house for sale? You don't want people maybe hopping the fence to your land and scoping out the scene. There's plenty of reasons why a seller, not the agent, the seller may want to market a property one way or another. It's your duty as a real estate agent to market that home, that property, that piece of land, how the seller wants. And the fact that we've had so many different organizations or groups or platforms try to force agents to have to market or sell a specific way when that's not the wishes of the seller, that's not good at all. Because not only, we've had all these different rules that have come out over the past. I mean, we can go back to 2024. We had that massive lawsuit all because of commissions and things. And they said, all right, now you can no longer do this or you can't do this.
It's interesting that you say that, David, because in reading some of the remarks about Zillow's lawsuit against MRED and Compass, they stated in it that they are forced to change their business practices. Like I didn't know I could sue somebody over that. Like you're making me change the way I do business. I found that to be very interesting. I love the fact that I am in complete agreement with you. We should be marketing these properties to our sellers' wishes. But Zillow says that if you aren't putting your listing on Zillow, you're violating your fiduciary duty to your client, and they would support any lawsuit against you for that. And I think that's some pretty big balls to say that.
They just want to throw around the Zillow money. I don't know. And again, I would hate to be turned off by any platform as an MLS. I would hate to be turned off for something, but I don't know if other MLSs really are all MLSs in danger, or is this all just again tit for tat because of all the other arguments and everything that have led up to this?
Well, Bright and two other MLSs, I think, will be closely behind since Robert Refkin, so it was MRED first, and then it was Bright, which was, I believe, the largest in the country. And then there's, I have my reactions turned on. I think it still does it even in this. Yep.
That's
So,
awesome.
so I am betting that these will all follow, and it's very interesting because I like, I guess, what Robert Refkin is standing up for. Um, Zillow, I don't think, is making their correct point. They could have made a good point, but I don't think they're going the right direction for it. I think they're throwing a temper tantrum that they're losing business because they built the biggest platform. They are antitrust. They're like literally saying, if you don't put your listing on our platform, it's been very interesting to watch that. And I don't understand how like Zillow Preview. So Zillow Preview is the same exact thing. And then when I looked through their contract, which by the way, we do a lot of business with Zillow. So
Yeah,
this
wow.
isn't, we have a NAR brokerage. We do a lot of business with NAR. We do a lot of business with Zillow. Like it's, but it's okay to have these opinions. And in reading the Zillow Preview contract, we had to agree to a 3-year exclusive contract. And with the way that this industry changes, I was not down with that.
I don't know if I'd want to commit to 3 months in this. It's just crazy. But that's what I love about my state MLS is that our agents can serve their clients however those clients are best served. We can do coming soons. We could technically put it in as a private listing. We can just put it in so our office agents can see it. And most importantly, it's fed. It's still syndicated to hundreds of websites where the buyers are. That's the big thing. It's like, where are the buyers? Are the buyers going to care that all these MLSs are pulling out from Zillow? No, they're still going to go to Zillow and they're just going to look at what's on that menu. They're not going to realize that there's other restaurants out there they can go look at, you know?
No, you're right. I mean, they're going to go, and that's one thing we've always talked about. That's a question that we get a lot. When a broker is or an agent is considering using us, they always say, "Well, how are the other brokers going to see it? Why are you worrying about other brokers? You want to know how the buyers are going to see it. So you want to make sure you're on as many platforms as possible." But Holly, you do bring up a great point about what did cause all of this to start. And again, it's a lot of back and forth. Is it all just retaliatory? I don't know.
David, I think you're going to get this question, so I'm going to ask it. And if you don't have the answer for today, that's fine, but I bet you're going to get this asked from other people. So, since my state MLS is national, you don't have a regional turf war with Zillow, especially in the same way that MRED does. So, where does a platform like yours sit in this fight?
I would like to say I've got ringside seats next to the millionaires just watching it go down. But this isn't going to be a 17-second Ronda Rousey Gina Carano fight. This is going to be going on for a long time. And it has been. This
Mhm. This fight for data has been going on for years.
exactly. And is it really all because I know, Holly, you do bring up good points. Did it all start with NAR? Did it start with Robert Refkin when he started trying to do lawsuits? I don't know. But you also bring up the good point is there at the same time, everyone has a solid point and a good reason to say what they're saying or trying to take the actions that they're going to take. But, you know, Compass, they do have the right to market the listings that, again, their seller wants to. But are they putting all their listings in a private network just because, or is it because that's what the sellers want? I think that's maybe the big question that no one may be asking, but everyone is thinking in the back of their head. Again, I don't have a problem with that if that's the way that they're doing business, but every business has its own business model. Other companies may not agree with those business models, but those companies are still operating in real estate, still doing their thing. Everyone just has their own option, their own opinion as to what's the best way to succeed in business. It's just where we sit, we have not changed. We have continued to do everything that we've been doing
Mhm.
since day one. We can go back. Well, let's go back in time, go back to 2024 when the settlement came out. They said, all right, any MLS, any NAR MLS, you have to do this with your co-broke fields, do this, this, and this. You have until, what was it, April or when, maybe May 1st to do it. And then, of course, they said, oh, wait, no one's ready yet. Let's push it to August. We had already rolled out those changes day one. We weren't even part of the settlement. We weren't part of the lawsuit. But we decided to make some slight tweaks to the way our commission fields work. Bottom line, we still have it in our system. We have always allowed it because, again, that's an option for you and your seller. If your seller wants to offer a buyer's broker commission in order to entice buyer's brokers to bring in the buyers, okay, you are more than welcome to use that field. But it's an optional field, always has been. If you're not offering a co-broke and you want to make sure that that buyer's broker has their ducks in the row, they sign the right agreements with their seller, with their buyers, you select no, that field disappears. So we've always just been doing what we've been doing. We haven't really changed. We're continuing to do what we do. We're always have our fingers on the pulse as to what's going on in the industry, because if changes need to be made, we'll make the changes. But we don't drag our feet when those changes need to be made. We are probably one of the first ones to adopt.
I think the biggest thing that sets you apart is you are giving choice, and you're giving that choice, I mean, obviously to the clients, but through their agents. So the only way for us to syndicate our listings through Zillow, we have MRED members. Okay. So the only way for us to do that right now, MRED wise, would be that MLS grid that syndicates directly to Zillow and bypasses MRED and all that stuff.
I think the craziest thing with that statement that he read from Zillow, talk about the hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything that they said with those emails that came out like 6 months ago, they were doing the same damn thing.
But I have to give credit where credit is due. Zillow's really turned over a new leaf this year. Like they've rolled out a lot of tools that help agents that are in their platform connect with their sphere, connect with their leads. And I think that unfortunately, so many agents have such a bad taste in their mouth. They have such a block. They're not willing
I
to
wonder why.
research those.
I mean, Zillow, the only reason they turned over a new leaf this year is because they were losing money left and right. They were losing clients, i.e. agents. They didn't have
Mm-hmm.
anybody to sell the data to, or, it was like, it was dipping out. So it's like, it's great, but it wasn't out of the goodness of their own hearts.
Yeah, nothing that any of these companies do is for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy is whether they're claiming it's for clients or for agents, we all know it's just for their pocketbooks or their shareholders,
Exactly.
right? They're shareholders.
Their profits were in the tank from Flex. That was a disaster. I mean, between Flex and their whole home buying program,
Yeah.
talk about two monstrosities of a disaster for that company.
Swing and a miss.
I was just reading that they lost over $500 million from their iBuyer program, which is the stat that I love to use whenever somebody talks about Zestimates, because that was also what they said was, oh, I guess our Zestimates aren't that accurate.
Cue your song about Zillow, right?
Yeah, exactly. Zillow and Kira Fraser.
I'll have to send that to you, David. Did you know we have a whole music?
Yeah, we have a record label.
First time you've had a DJ on the show with way too much music.
Yeah. and few people that got their, threatened to have their house burned down by Holly. She's known for doing that. So
Watching Sandi tell the story is more amusing than how it really happened.
well, David, we actually have the clip of it. So I think, when
Cue
we've
the clip.
talked before in our Zoom, though, like, that we record everything. We are convinced that our company's going to have a documentary one day when we're, huge and everything. And we record all these uncomfortable conversations and all kinds of crazy shit. So it was literally, we were interviewing Josh. We had just met him for the first time. This is a professional interview for him as our managing broker of South Dakota. I have it on recording. And he was just, talking about how he aligns with our vision. He thinks our company's great, blah, blah, blah. And then I was just basically like, do you have the stomach for a startup? Let's just talk about that now. And he's like, yeah, in the big scheme of things with brokerages, statistics, probably not going to make it. We kind of laugh. And
he
he's
said
like,
it 3 times.
I think it was twice.
So he, he kind of said that, and then he goes on and he's gushing some more about like, but when you meet people like you hitch your wagon to them. And I was into it. Holly jumps in and goes, if you ever say we'll fail again, I will burn your house down. Like, I mean, out of nowhere. And she was smiling when she said it. It was
Listen, she
so
has her convictions. She's gonna stick to it.
And then he's like, what? Because he didn't hear like a couple people talking at the same time. And she repeated it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
She can't take me anywhere. It's why I'm not allowed to just have a microphone.
So,
I joined the brokerage, but I also have a restraining order, so Holly can't cross the state line.
That was after we found out he was like practically blown up by a pipe bomb.
I really wanted to go back real quick, David, about the cooperating compensation field, because that's super interesting. And I think agents are going to, ask about it. Right. I think that NAR has given agents has agents frozen in their tracks. Okay, agents are afraid to operate. And, finally HUD came out and said, hey, agents, you're allowed to share crime statistics with your clients. You're allowed to share school statistics. Like, you're allowed to bring value to your clients. And so, Josh and I have had multiple conversations about this, that we feel that they've just kind of gotten lazy over the years. They don't want to have to train people properly on it. So they're just like, don't do it in general, or give people the impression they shouldn't do it in general. But your MyState MLS does not have to follow regular NAR rules. So let's talk about some general, things that you do outside the box.
People say, "Oh, you don't have rules." Oh, we definitely have rules. We certainly have rules. And a lot of our rules do fall in line with, your traditional MLS or NAR guidelines. But of course, I don't use the F word here. And when I say I don't use the F word, is I'm talking about fees and fines. That's one of the big
Oh, thank
side.
God.
So, and people I love using that line, because people are like, well, what do you guys do about fees and fines? I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We don't use the F word here. So, and we don't. So if an agent is to put a listing into the MLS and maybe they put in the wrong price, or they did something wrong.
Oh, made a mistake? Maybe on a...
They were human. So if they were human,
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, if
Okay.
someone was human and made
Gotcha.
an accidental human error, I'm not sending them a $252,000 bill in the mail saying, you done messed up. What we do is we give you a call and say, hey, is this right? Is this correct? Or, hey, this doesn't seem to be right. Can you just double check? And they fix the issue. Or we'll say, hey, are you sure this is the correct expiration date or whatever? And they'll say, oh, we actually got an extension, so this is the correct expiration date. So, oh, okay, cool. We're not here to penalize anyone because they made a human error. So, that's the biggest thing, is we're not here to just throw fines and bills in everyone's mailbox because they looked at us the wrong way. I said it before, we're just in the business to help you do yours.
How do you survive as a business if you're not just finding the shit out of agents left and right?
Single ply toilet paper, and a lot of ramen, I guess. Eh,
When you're talking about this, it just made me think of crazy finds. Like, what kind of crazy finds are out there? And there was one time in my virtual tour, I took one like sweep of the front out right out the front door, and it caught my sign. $100 fine. Had to take down my whole
We
virtual tour.
actually ran a campaign a few years ago so we do lots of fun campaigns for people. So what we'll do is we'll have Find Festivus. So what we do is agents air their grievances and tell us about some of the most egregious fines they've received. And so we actually had someone whose dog literally ate their homework, and they had fined because the dog ate the listing contract.
This sounds really fun, almost like a Razzies award night
Yeah,
or
it's a
something.
lot, and so it's one of my favorite times of the year is Find Festivus, so we get to hear about everyone's nightmare stories about some of the bills that they've received in the mail. Just again,
That's really cool.
Well, that reminds me of like when Google has meetings or like some big company has meetings and they'll say like, everybody come up with the worst idea possible. And that like gets the creative juices flowing. Or they'll have like don't do your job today, do that project that you've never had time for. Like, cause those are the ones where somebody sees a problem and they fix it now that they have the time. They're like, it's always annoying, but I just don't have time to fix it.
exactly. And what's funny is we're talking about fines is actually one of the final straws that broke our CEO's back, that led to the creation of the MLS. One of her MLSs sent her 2 bills in the mail. She received one, didn't receive a second one. So they said, hey, you didn't pay this bill, so here's a larger one now. And that was one of the deciding factors that said, all right, said, nope, done. We're gonna come up with something different. So it's funny that you bring up some silly fines, just for, again, it's done to to pad the
For
bank account.
control, and people's britches get too big, and they're like, "Well, we got him for this, we got away with that, nobody questions this, nobody questions that, like, what else can we do? Oh, red light tickets now where they don't even monitor anything themselves anymore, it's just all automated,
Yeah.
it's nuts." So, before we let David go, I've just been asking all the questions. Holly, Josh, what questions do you have for him?
I've got a two-parter for you, David. And I'm going to lead this into why I like MyState MLS. So the first one is, do you guys do anything with providing agents leads within the platform? Like, you're not selling leads. You guys aren't doing that, right?
Not at all. Never have, never want to. We've always been, we're your listing, your lead. Anything that you get through the platform, the MLS, that's going to you. We even when we, like I mentioned before, one of the things that I do here is work with syndication partners and try to find other platforms. We try to make sure that any new platform that they stick to that same mentality that it's going to be your listing, your lead. Sure, we know that Zillow and Realtor.com, they've built up their entire empire based on selling leads, but there are still plenty of platforms out there that still believe in it. Homes.com is still a firm believer in your listing, your lead. So it's nice to see that there are platforms out there that still believe in that. Because again, I get why they do it, and I get why a buyer's agent would want to pay for leads. But when you think about a seller, the seller wants to talk to the person that's going to know the most about the property. So when you can get them directly in front of the person that listed that home and did the tour and met with the homeowner, that's who you want to talk to. So yeah, we're not here to sell anything out to the highest bidder, never.
And I asked that question because that's one of two things that I think agents have extreme value with MyState MLS is, first of all, you guys don't have an ulterior motive, where Zillow, their whole goal is to get the leads, get the data so they can sell it and make money that way. And to their credit, they've done a great job at that.
Well, they're a brokerage now, so that's it's
Yeah,
all self-fulfilling.
yeah,
Which
we
is
could talk
another
about
can
that.
that we'll keep that can closed for now.
Yeah, that could be a whole show on its own. But I think the other important thing that I see with agents is, in this turbulent time, we just saw it with MRED. Agents signing up for MyState MLS, it's very reasonable on a monthly fee basis, but it gives you a backup plan. So if your MLS or your association decides, like they did to our brokerage, to go rogue for whatever reason and just cut off your feed, and you have active listings, we had an immediate way that we could be like, hey, we have MyState MLS. We can get their listings at least back up. And for me, as a business owner, that little bit you're paying MyState MLS every month is
Exactly.
so worth it, because part of the problem is our agents could have got sued over that. And their only recourse would be to go back to, the MLSs and try to rope them into that whole thing. But with MyState MLS, you can make a good faith effort to get those things back up on the major platforms, cover your CYA on that. So I think that's two things that you guys have done really, really well that I think agents are really overlooking right now in the current market.
And I mean, you bring up a solid point. And I've done the math on this. And one of the things that we tell agents is, especially if they want to use MyState MLS in addition to their local MLS, we talked about before, when you go on listing appointments, if you were to say, oh, in addition to putting it in the local MLS, I'm going to put it in a statewide, nationwide MLS. If you were to just get one extra listing just from that one sentence sales tactic, that commission from that one listing that you just won would pay for your MyState MLS membership for literally a decade. Like
That's why
it's
I'm
amazing.
asking, because part of that sounds really powerful if I'm saying I can get this in front of an extra 80,000 agents. So how many agents did you find that number?
What's crazy is we're starting to because of everything that's going on, and
I bet you've come over like
we
100,000, or
are
you're going
we're
to.
well over
Okay.
100,000 now.
See, that's amazing.
And
That's
so, and
amazing.
you know,
Congratulations.
you can talk about MLSs having membership, but you can also talk about MLSs having coverage. We have coverage across the entire country. We have representatives, we have members in every state, every territory. We're starting to see a big uptick in Puerto Rico, of all places. I was on a call with someone there. They're like, you should expand to Puerto Rico. I'm like, already on it, man. We're there. So, and we're starting to see a lot of nationwide brokerages start to take a look at us. And I mean, that's where you guys are going. And I know Holly believes in us. When I had my first call with Holly, I'm like, I am in your corner 100% because I'm like, I like what you guys are doing. She's like, I like your stuff. I'm like, I like your stuff. So let's keep our houses upright.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we both put our
Um,
matches into our pockets, and now we are our bestest of friends.
Steve, I think it's important to talk about two things. One, a lot of these big brokerages are talking about how they have like HouseCanary and Google and stuff. And I'm excited because the agents that use MyState MLS get those same benefits. And then I also am super intrigued by the open listings. And I think agents would be super intrigued to hear more about open listings as well, because most NAR associations and MLSs don't allow open listings.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that we do that other MLSs do or that we do differently. These are two very big cans. So we'll open up both. The HouseCanary ComeHome Google thing is huge. So for those playing at home, what ComeHome and HouseCanary have done is they've created a platform that is now sending listings directly to Google search results. And MyState MLS is essentially the first MLS to partner with them. So all of the MyState MLS members actually have the benefit of this. Right now, as of the taping of this podcast, it's still currently considered a pilot program. It's just in a few markets. It's in like I want to say Cleveland, Miami, and like Long Island. There may be a few others. There might be one in I think California is also one of them. Um, but what we've been doing is so any member, whether it's a brokerage, an agent, when they put their listings in, they'll have the opportunity to select ComeHome. And what ComeHome does is they're kind of like a syndication partner. But then what they're doing is now, since they have this partnership with Google, they're then able to put those homes up on the search results. So for those that are adopting to it early, they're really making out. So the way it works is the listings will appear, but then what you can also do to kind of double dip is you can, as an agent, pay for a Google services ad. So then you appear right next to those listings. So not only could you appear next to your listings, but it's almost, again, it's kind of reinventing the premier agent, if you will. But it's going to Google, and those that are jumping on the bandwagon sooner than later, they're getting the bids in now, and they're getting the bids in at a lower rate. So like you said, Holly, a lot of brokerages are looking at us for that, and we've been talking with a lot of firms to get them up and running. So, and which again is only just making MyState MLS stronger as a platform, which is great for everybody. Because we want, again, I've said it multiple times now. For me, I feel even though we've been around for you know over 15 years now, it just feels like a homegrown effort. Like we're still like a homegrown company. We're not this massive corporation. We're still just a privately owned platform. We still have our same core team members that we've had when we first launched. So it still just always feels like a homegrown effort. We don't have shareholders and all these people breathing down our backs, trying to make the decision, saying, "Oh, thinking about the bottom line." We're more thinking about helping agents and being able to let everyone get the exposure that they want. So that's Google and ComeHome. That's so much fun. It's been a lot of fun to work with them and roll this out because I think it's going to be a pretty big game changer. Uh, where this plays out, who knows? Who knows? Then open listings is also great too, especially now. The market in general, in most places, it's tough, and it's great for sellers agents that are having trouble getting sellers leads or to actual have sellers sell with them with an exclusive agreement. It's a great way to just get your name out there because you can go ahead and take on these open listings, put them in the MLS, advertise them there, push them to social media, advertise them on social media. Some third-party sites will take open listings. So you're able to go out there and just get buyers leads. Yes, maybe that buyer contacts you about that open listing that it was a for sale by owner. You knocked on their door and said, "Hey, can I list this on the MLS?" Or maybe there's a new high rise going up in your building or in your area. You went to the builder and said, "Hey, can we list these units on the MLS? We'll do an open agreement." Then you're just increasing your funnel. You're having those buyers reach out to you about those open listings. They may not buy that particular property, but Now you've secured them as a lead. Say, all right, well, let's find the house that does fit your needs. So it's a great way just to bring in more business, because right now it's a lot of areas. It's why it's weird. It's strange. It's like the opposite of 2020.
Well, this was amazing. Thank you so much for your time, David. Did you want to plug anything before, like, tell them where to find you, anything like that?
I mean, anyone that ever wants more information can always just visit us at MyState MLS. One of the benefits of being the first employee of a company is you get your pick of emails. So if anyone wants to email me, I'm always an open book. I'm not scared. I'm not going to give out my cell number. I've learned that mistake. I'm not doing that again. If anyone wants to email me though, Dave at MyState MLS, they can find me anytime. I'm always available for you know, consultations. If you have questions about how we work, if you're interested in using us, just reach out. Again, Dave at mystatemls.com is the best way to get a hold of me. You can always just call us, ask for me. I'm usually around. I'm not going anywhere. But I mean, I think no matter where you are in your real estate journey, I would say take a look at MyState MLS as a tool. I'm not saying you have to leave your local MLS. I'm not saying you have to quit what you're doing now. Continue doing what you're doing. It's obviously working. You're still here. But think about adding things to your toolbox. You need those things to set yourself apart from your competition. Maybe MyState MLS is the solution. Yes, we were well over into the hundreds of thousands of users, but there's 2 million real estate agents out there. So chances are not everyone in your market is using us. If you can be that early adopter in your market to utilize this platform, think about how many listings that could net you, or just if you're trying to expand, maybe you're trying to go into the next neighboring market that's not covered by your local MLS. Do that. Your license lets you work in your entire state. Go ahead and do it. Work anywhere in Mississippi, anywhere in North Dakota, wherever you are. Work the entire state. We'll let you work wherever you're licensed. So why not come over and have some fun? We're not the land of misfit toys. I know people kind of think that's what we are. We're not. We are a full-fledged MLS to just we want to help you succeed. That's it. That's all I got.
Thank you so much for jumping on. I really appreciated your time. It was fun. It was fun too. So for everyone watching, the link to My State MLS, it will be in the show notes, our description. If you're tired of letting one website run your business, today is a good day to start owning your distribution. I'm Sandi Lyn Burnett. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow on My Real Estate Show.